Trump makes a national address and lies through his teeth so much that they have to correct it the next day. It's mind-boggling. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, and share it with your friends. And subscribe to our channel. It is getting even weirder out there with regard to the coronavirus and the economy. Of course, last night Donald Trump went on TV and told a bunch of lies, told a bunch of, it started out with a bunch of spin. This Chinese virus, at one point he called it that. He says it came from China, and then at another point he says, we're having to deal with a foreign virus. Well, yeah, right. Yes, it came from China, and yes, China didn't handle it well initially, and yes, China has their act together. But it has been 3 months since Donald Trump was told this was coming to the United States. And he's still, he held a press conference this morning with the President or Prime Minister of Ireland. And, he's still talking about, well, we just have a few thousand cases. Other countries have hundreds of thousands. This is tragic. And that the President of the United States would go on TV and during a public health emergency, not talk about, in a serious way, about public health measures. We have 1 million hospital beds and 150,000 respirators in this country. They're both typically between 75 and 85% utilization, which means we've got a couple 100,000 hospital beds and a few tens of thousands of respirators. And we are going to need, if the new numbers that are being published right now, that there's a doctor for Congress, and what he told Congress yesterday is we could see 40 to 150 million people in the United States infected. Now, if that happens rapidly, and if it does happen rapidly, by the way, it'll be purely because we weren't testing people, and thus there was a lot of community spread. But if that happens rapidly, we are going to overwhelm our ability to offer hospitalization to people. It's just going to completely overwhelm it. And this is going to overwhelm our hospital systems. Another reason why we all need to hunker down to the extent that we can, stay out of public places, and work from home if you can, as I'm trying to set a good example here for you all. And also, I just walking into my office building, I'd gotten in the habit of not opening the door with my hand, but opening it with the inside of the coat of my the pocket of my coat, or I wear my gloves until I'm inside the office. It's kind of cold here. It was 35 this morning. But anyhow, you got Trump just telling these lies, and he wasn't talking. This is why the Dow Jones futures last night dropped all the way to the circuit breaker, all the way to 5 points in the hour around his speech, was because he didn't come out and say, we have a public health emergency that is going to require a public health response. And so I am right now I'm declaring a state of emergency so that to release $40 million of FEMA funds. We're going to have FEMA set up in our major cities. We're going to have FEMA set up basically triage units, MASH units, where we can have functional, essentially little mini ICUs, and we can deal with people separate from the hospitals, so that so if somebody has a heart attack, they're not going to go to the hospital and contract the coronavirus. Right? This is what he should have said as a starting point. He should have said, everybody in America will be able to get tested with or without a doctor's slip. We don't want to overwhelm our doctors. Everybody in America can give it, just like in South Korea right now, you can just drive up. If you think you should be tested, that's good enough. Go down to your local CVS and get tested. Go to your local, gas station and get tested. Whatever it may be. This is what he should have been saying. Instead, he gave us happy talk. And he tried to talk the stock market back up. And he talked about how, we've got the greatest healthcare system in the world. No, we're 34 in the world in terms of maternal and infant mortality. We're at the bottom of the OECD countries. We're in the bottom middle in terms of just lifespan. And now we're discovering that one of the key ingredients for these test kits, it's called a reagent. Or, a reagent is something that, well, in this case, what it's used to do is you take your saliva or whatever and you put it in the reagent, and it basically breaks up. It's a chemical that breaks up the cell membranes, both the outer cell membrane and the nuclear cell membrane, the nucleus of the cell, exposing the DNA to the liquid. So then you can take you can extract the DNA and look for DNA specific to the coronavirus. Okay, so that's how you do it. Well, those reagents are running. The world is running out of those reagents, which is not a problem for South Korea and China and a lot of other countries that have lots and lots of reagents. But it is a problem for us here in the United States. And now you've got Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. They wanted to start doing coronavirus tests, but they couldn't obtain the RNA extraction kits. Mangling tests and kits, my apologies. They said that this is a shortage now. Judd Legum reporting over at popular.info. This is a problem in labs across the country. There's one company that makes these. It's called Quell. It's a Dutch diagnostics company. Trump could have talked last night about how they actually have a manufacturing facility here in Massachusetts in the United States, or in Maryland rather. He could have said, we're gonna help manufacture more of these test kits. But no, he's outsourced this to a couple of big lab companies, and this is where we're at. And don't forget, back in 2018, 2 years ago, Trump fired and closed down, or actually John Bolton did it on Trump's orders, fired and shut down the offices in the Homeland Security Department and the Office of National Security, the National Security Director's office, that were in charge of pandemic diseases.